More Than a Disability is a documentary on the inclusion of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Not many people realize how much of our population is actually affected by these specific disabilities. Over 6 million Americans are developmentally disabled, and about 17% of children are diagnosed each year with a developmental disability. In 2019, my youth group volunteered at Bella McCree, a community center for adults who have IDDs. We interacted with the adults through conversation, hand signals, or just simply with our presence while they hunted for Easter eggs. With this same group, we decided to further our learning and involvement with the IDD community in Montego, Jamaica. While in Jamaica, we lived and worked alongside residents of a home for adults with developmental disorders called Jacob's Ladder. It was in these two experiences that I fostered a passion to spread awareness about people with developmental disabilities and fight for their inclusion. So what is an intellectual disability? The four most common forms include autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Many people often look at these disabilities as a defining characteristic, but people hold more value than what might disable them. Programs like Best Buddies help break down barriers and stigmas to help us realize this.
Yeah, I'm Leo DePole. I was one of the co-founders of the Best Buddies Club at Archbishop Spalding, our local high school, which had started junior year and has now been going on for 3 or 4 years now, ultimately. And our Best Buddies chapter was a little bit different than the average in that most public schools have a certain population of students with intellectual and developmental disabilities, whereas at Spalding, we had maybe one or two. So what was interesting about our branch of Best Buddies is, again, since we didn't have a very large population of students with IDDs, we partnered with a school that was tailored for students with things like Down syndrome or autism.
Okay.
And so we worked with an organization called Kennedy Krieger Institute, which was connected to Johns Hopkins. And what they essentially did was they had developed a curriculum for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities for years, I think from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, essentially. But it wasn't necessarily in years because some students moved slower than others.
Okay.
And a lot of their school, which I actually thought was super interesting, was tailored to finding ways to make these students really comfortable in the real world. Being able to just see them as people is ultimately the most important aspect of any interaction you have with them. Is just looking them in the eyes and realizing that they are the exact same as you.
What about us college students? What is being done here at Michigan State to help combat adversity amongst the developmentally disabled population? At Michigan State University, we have a department called RCPD, standing for Resource Center for Persons with Disabilities, located in Bessie Hall. However, RCPD can only help so much with being able to provide resources for mild intellectual disabilities. Michigan State also has their own chapter of Best Buddies. My friend Katie was happy to shed light on her experience within the club and the impact it has had on our community.
In high school, I was a part of a club very similar to Best Buddies called Connecting Club, which was very important to me, and I was really involved for all 4 years. And so I wanted to continue that kind of involvement in college. And also, my brother has an intellectual disability, so it's very important for me and sparked my passion to join as well for his sake. And I also am a kinesiology major, so it's a huge part of being in that major. Monthly chapter events, which are buddies and peer buddies all coming together. Like the entire club is there to do events and like games and get to know each other and interact. So that's really cool. And then we have, we hang out with our buddies individually 3 times a month. and you can do whatever. You can go on walks, go to lunch, FaceTime, Zoom. With COVID, it's different now, but it's still really fun, and we get to make connections and relations. So as I said earlier, my brother is a part of, he is in our special education program back home because he has a intellectual disability, and I have seen like firsthand how him having that disability creates a gap educationally and socially between his peers, and I can see that it's hard for him at times, and that's why I joined Connecting Club in high school and wanted to continue it in Best Buddies, so I'm able to impact someone like my brother and form relationships with him, so they feel like they have someone, and they feel more involved and connected to their peers. It means being able to be kind to everyone you come across, and being able to put someone's differences from you aside, to be able to have a new perspective on things, and being able to form a relationship that can change your life forever.
Let's take inclusion beyond a club. How can we impact the greater community? A staple in a college town or city are boutique coffee shops, just like Foster's right here in East Lansing. Coffee shops like this are a common place for people to work, relax, and connect with fellow peers and friends within their community. Wright, founder of Biddy & Bose, saw this boutique coffee shop atmosphere and decided to use it as a platform for a social justice movement. Founded in Wilmington, North Carolina, Biddy & Bose hires adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. In the U.S., 80% of persons with IDDs are unemployed. This company's mission is to bring awareness and social change to stigmas surrounding disabilities and show that these people are not broken. It is organizations such as the ones we have looked at today that should inspire us to change the world we live in and break down the barriers built between us.